it is Deborah Watson with the Branson International Film Festival, and I've been the curator for the festival for the past 5 years. And this year, we wanted to celebrate all the films that have come through the past 5 years, which is a lot, and we couldn't showcase all of them. But because of that choice of journey, one of our board members, Karen Colton Millsap, brought up something very fascinating last year, and that is that really motion picture is not the absence of other art forms, but it's the inclusion of all art forms in motion together. And I thought, the pandemic has separated us and pulled us apart and isolated us. What a great theme for this year's 5-year anniversary. And so we decided to do a competition for artists to be able to submit some of their work. And we had a panel of judges go through and pick out their favorite one. And the winner is Kris Newlin, who we have with us today. And so Kris, I would be honored if you would share kind of your story as to, because you're an art therapist, so there's got to be a very amazing story as to why you do what you do and why you use art as part of therapy.
Yes, so I'm honored to be here, and I'm so excited that I was selected. And this is something near and dear to my heart because I believe that art in every form is a way that unites people. And there was a lot of things in our world that has split people apart, whether that was our physical health or mental health or social things that were happening, lots of divisions in our society, but art is unifying. It brings people together, and it also helps people have shared experiences from different walks of life. So for a little while, you can look through a different lens as you journey through a film. You get to walk in someone else's shoes. You get to hear someone's inner dialogue sometimes. And so that really is art therapy. It's just getting invited into someone's life, their story through the art.
Why did you pick physical art as a method for teaching people how to heal?
Well, I am an art therapist, but I actually incorporate a lot of the expressive arts therapies into my work. And I was a college professor for 16 years and taught creative therapies, which merges everything. And film was part of that coursework. And so was music and dance and poetry. So I'm a believer in the arts in every form. And I guess art, to me, that's just my native language. If I could speak through art to people, they would get a truer version of me. That is, I think, how I'm most fluent. So that's probably why I picked art. It's just my go-to form of emotional expression. It's where I sort through my own journey, and when I'm struggling, it's what I turn to. So it makes sense that I would help other people do the same thing.
And you've got some of your artwork behind you. Tell me the story behind the blue woman over your left shoulder.
Well, let me shift a little because she is actually twins. Let's see, I'll move some things around. So even though she doesn't look like me, she's a little bit of a self-portrait. So that is city girl, country girl, because I grew up split between the first 18 years of my life. I spent the first 9 in smack dab in the city, urban area, just all pavement, riding my bike around, all those things. And then I went from there and spent the next 9 years on 40 acres and no neighbor anywhere nearby, dirt roads. So that's a little just about my story growing up. City girl, country girl.
Your artwork we have is very unique. And I love that there's some three-dimensional layers to it. Would you like to explain what inspired the use of the hands and the flower and the camera lens Like, what was it that inspired you to do the art piece that you did for the festival?
Well, okay, so it's multi-layered because I'm a mixed media artist, but basically I was just thinking of the camera lens as like a shared point of view. Like when you're absorbed in film, you have your perspective layered with the story that's unfolding before you. So you're getting to share that. You're getting a different lens to look through. So that's why there's a lens in the center of the sunflower. And then all the hands reaching is just a way that art brings community to people that may never get to journey through whatever the story is that's unfolding before them, except in a way like that, except through film. Film lets us experience history. Film lets us project into the future and think about the possibilities there. We get to walk through things that we wouldn't get to walk through otherwise. So that's what I tried to capture in the art piece I submitted.
So do you sell any of your artwork, or do you just use it for therapy purposes?
I do both. I consider myself kind of 50-50 on being a mental health. I'm a licensed professional counselor and a registered board certified art therapist. So I spend half my time at my private practice. And then like I have 2 shows. This Friday, I'll be exhibiting art as just a mixed media artist. And that is great for me because this helps my mental health and helps me better provide support for the people I'm working with to help them with their mental health. So Oklahoma City is where I typically show my art. We have a little artist community called Paseo that looks like kind of a miniature Santa Fe.
Oh, wow.
Little adobe buildings. It's very cute, very quaint. If you ever venture into Oklahoma City, you should check it out. But yeah, so Oklahoma City, little suburb up there.
So you and I may have to have a conversation about something I'm building out in the metaverse, and I'll send you a link of what that looks like. Because a lot of people have been coming to festivals and events via Zoom, kind of like you and I are doing today. But I had the honor of meeting Dawn and Robert from Rhino XR Studios, and they're helping me build out a 3 and 5D dimensional space in the metaverse that's very well protected, so that way the hackers and stuff can't get in. But it's a safe place to be able to, we could have an art gallery there.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, so yeah. And we are connected with over 78 different countries. In fact, one of your hands has kind of become, in the imagery, has become very special to me because last year we had a 9-year-old animator submit her work, and it was all about good triumphing over evil. And she did like a stop motion. She did the voiceover, she did the cutouts and everything. And I'm sure her mom probably helped her with editing. But we fell in love with her work because she's only 9 and she was doing such a great storytelling. And at her level, the amount of creativity that's there is so beautiful. But one of your hands has become hers in my heart because she lives outside of Kiev. And last time I talked to her, mom was the day before it was bombed. And so we're believing that the innocence of Anastasia has not been robbed from her, that she will still have that heart of hope, that good always triumphs over evil. How can people find a second chance at life by picking up a colored pencil, a paintbrush? Like, where would they start and how would they do that?
Yeah, I do want to say, I love that you just shared that story about Anastasia, though, because the sunflower is part of the poster this year. And that happened before all of this unfolded in the Ukraine. But I feel like there's beauty in the art sometimes that's almost intuitive, or it's beyond what we do at the surface, whether you want to think of that as spiritual or just emotional depths. And I feel like there aren't really accidents in art. There's just little gifts that you get. So And how could somebody just pick up a pencil? I think what you do is tap into the inner child that we all have, that we sometimes squash down and sometimes is a bit wounded, but you invite them out to play with no expectations except just um, trying to delight and have fun and get caught up in the wonder of play, really. So not having like expectations to make something beautiful. It might be ugly, but it might be really fun. So I think that is a good place to start, to not make art that you have an intention of hanging above your sofa or selling for a high price or anything like that, but just make art to scribble and make a mess and have fun. Sometimes it results in something beautiful, but it doesn't have to. It can just be the process.
Sure. And there's such a unique difference in your artwork on the walls behind you. Like over your other shoulder is another blue girl that looks like she's got flowers all around her.
Right.
And I know there's significance in colors, and maybe one day we could do another interview about the significance and colors in our art. That way people can learn and grow. But why did you select that type of imagery that's so contrasting to the other one that's more of a self-portrait?
Right. Well, and if this one is so huge and I can't really pick it up to show you, but this lady's a city lady and she has a city painted on her dress. And this lady has fields of sunflowers on her dress. So they're just telling a different story. That one is actually about the Bible verse where God takes care of the birds in the field and the flowers. And so how much does he care for you and me? So that's why I don't know if you can tell, there are birds all inside that figure, but it's about a peacefulness of knowing you're loved, you're taken care of.
You know, we're part of Stephen Furtick out of North Carolina. They call it the E family. So we're not physically there to go to church. But this Sunday, he actually taught out of Genesis about how God spoke and told the birds to fill the sky and told the ocean to be filled with fish. And he says, you know, with us, he didn't speak us. He got down into the dirt with us.
Right.
But he made the fish for the water and the birds for the sky. And he said, I think it was Albert Einstein that said, you know, how crazy is it for a fish to try and climb a tree and then become discouraged because it doesn't succeed? You know, so that your picture spoke to me because I saw those birds and I had the train of thought from his sermon this Sunday as to how that picture has such a freedom to it of worship, but all the birds aren't the same, you know, that's right. Beautiful. It kind of stood out. So
good.
It told its own story.
Yeah. Yeah. Each one of those pieces has its own little story. Yeah.
So Kris, you had shared that you do workshops, you do shows. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you and say, hey, I'm really struggling and maybe art therapy could help me, how do I get that help? How could they get in touch with you?
I guess probably by email would be the best way. Do you want me to just share that or just make it available to you?
Yeah, it's totally up to you. If you want us to be able to just share it privately, we could do that. Or if you want us to have it here publicly, that way they can just shoot you a quick email. That's fine too.
Okay, I'll just share it. It's Kris, Kris, Newlin, Newlin at live.com. And I will just confess right here to everyone, I am not amazing at answering emails speedy quick. I balance a lot of things in life. I'm a homeschool mom, I'm an artist, and I work at a private practice part-time. And so it's a lot of juggling, and I'm in a leadership program. And I'm dabbling with going back to school to become a chaplain. So I really need to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. But please email me if you have questions. I will answer them, just maybe not speedy quick. So
Well, and you never know, there may be somebody out there that would be like, hey, Kris, I would love to help you with that. And if that's you and you want to say, hey, Kris, I would love to help you balance things out, by all means, feel free to send her an email. And again, Kris, thank you so much for your picture. I will send you a message. I would love the size, because we're going to be putting them on the back of our staff t-shirts. Like this is, I'm wearing, so this is what the front of them looks like. But then the back of it will have the image of your artwork on there. And so we want to make sure that you get a copy of, or a shirt that you can wear as well.
Oh, awesome. Yes, that's so exciting.
Is there anything you would like to share with the rest of the audience, like a word of encouragement or anything to other artisans, like anything at all that you'd like to put out there to them?
Well, I think if I could dispel any myth about creativity, it would be that people who say I'm not creative. The truth is we all are. We all make things. We all make something out of nothing all the time. Even anxiety is imaginative. We're imagining worst case scenarios. That same brain that does that can imagine beautiful things. We are all creatives, whether it's making an incredible pot of soup or mending a tear in a garment or planting a garden for people to enjoy. We are all creatives. So if I could just erase one false statement in the world about creativity, it would be that there is no one in this whole world who isn't creative. And my bias is it's because we are created in the image of our creator. And obviously we're creative. So you're creative. You just have to figure out how. That's it. And accept it and go with it. So
I love it, Kris. Thank you so much for your time today. And do you mind if I pray with you kind of off camera before we close?
That would be beautiful. I would love that.
Okay, great. You guys, thank you for tuning in. And like I said, if you want to reach out to Kris, by all means, you got her email now. And Kris, again, thank you so much for blessing us with your artwork and submitting it to the contest. We really do appreciate it.